The shotgun stock crashed into the German Shepherd's ribs with a sound that echoed across the empty parking lot. Deputy Wade Harkins grinned as the chained dog screamed, blood matting his fur, legs buckling beneath him. "That's what happens when you growl at the law," Harkins laughed. The dog, Rex, had been chained to that post for 3 weeks, beaten daily, starved slowly, a toy for a monster with a badge. No one in Oak Grove dared to stop it. Then a dusty truck pulled into the gas station. A Navy SEAL stepped out, and a German Shepherd named Shadow raised his head. Before we continue, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Subscribe and stay until the end. What happens next will restore your faith in justice. The blow came without warning. Deputy Wade Harkins swung the shotgun like a baseball bat, the wooden stock connecting with Rex's ribcage in a sickening crack that made Martha Chen flinch behind her store counter. The German Shepherd collapsed, legs splaying, a strangled yelp escaping his throat before he could swallow it. His chain rattled against the metal post, the sound mixing with Harkins' laughter. "Thought you'd growl at me again." Harkins stepped closer, boot nudging the trembling dog. "Stupid animal. You'll learn." Rex didn't try to stand. He'd learned 3 weeks ago that standing meant another beating. Instead, he pressed himself flat against the concrete, making himself as small as possible, his amber eyes tracking Harkins's every movement. Inside the Oak Grove Gas and Grocery, Martha gripped the counter until her knuckles turned white. 70 years old, silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, hands that had worked this register for 4 decades. Hands that now shook with helpless rage. "That dog hasn't eaten in 2 days," she whispered to Noah, her teenage helper. "He's going to kill him." Noah's face was pale beneath his freckles. "Should we call someone?" "Who? The sheriff?" Martha's laugh was bitter. "Blackwood put Harkins out here. They're the same." Through the window, they watched Harkins circle the chained dog like a predator savoring wounded prey. Rex's black and tan coat was matted with dried blood and dust. His ribs showed through his skin. One ear was torn from a beating 2 weeks ago. He was 4 years old. He'd belonged to a family once, before they moved away and left him behind. Before Harkins found him and decided he needed discipline. "Someone should do something," Noah said. "Someone always should," Martha turned away. "Someone never does." The bell above the door chimed. Neither of them heard it at first, too focused on the horror outside. But then a shadow fell across the counter, and Martha looked up into eyes that had seen far worse than this. Marcus Cole stood 6 feet tall, broad-shouldered, in a way that came from work rather than Jim's. His hair was cut short, dark brown threaded with early gray at the temples, and a trimmed beard framed a face marked by quiet angles and an old scar along his jaw. He was wearing the Navy working uniform Type 3, digital camouflage in green and brown, dusty from travel, but unmistakably military. At his side stood a German Shepherd. This dog was different from Rex in every way. Shadow was 6 years old, muscled and alert, his tan and black coat gleaming despite the dust. His amber eyes swept the room with trained vigilance, cataloging exits, threats, positions. Then those eyes found the window, found Rex. A low growl rumbled in Shadow's chest. "Easy, boy." Marcus placed a calming hand on Shadow's head. But his own gaze had followed the dog's, and what he saw through that window made something cold and dangerous unfold inside him. "What's happening out there?" Martha couldn't meet his eyes. "Deputy Harkins, he's disciplining his dog." "That dog doesn't belong to him." "It does now. He claimed it 3 weeks ago. Said it was a stray. Said it needed training." Marcus watched through the window as Harkins raised the shotgun again. Rex flinched, trying to curl tighter, chain pulling taut. Has anyone reported this? To who? Martha's voice cracked. The sheriff? They run together. The state police? They don't come out here. The news? We're a forgotten town, mister. Nobody cares what happens in Oak Grove. The shotgun stock came down. Rex screamed. Shadow lunged toward the door, and this time Marcus didn't stop him. Stay inside, he told Martha. Both of you. He pushed through the door, Shadow at his heel, and the heat hit him like a wall. Afternoon sun, smell of gasoline and blood. The sound of a man laughing at a creature's pain. Harkins didn't notice him at first. He was too busy enjoying himself, circling Rex, tapping the shotgun against his palm. Gonna learn to respect authority, Harkins was saying. Every damn dog in this county's gonna learn. Step away from him. Harkins spun, hand dropping to his holster. What he saw made him pause. A soldier in uniform. A German shepherd that looked like it could tear his throat out. Neither of them flinching. Who the hell are you? Doesn't matter. Step away from the dog. Harkins laughed, but there was uncertainty in it now. You giving me orders? You see this badge, soldier boy? I'm the law in this town. That badge doesn't give you the right to torture an animal. This animal is my property. I'll do whatever I want with it. He's not property. He's a living creature, and you're done hurting him. Shadow moved forward, positioning himself between Marcus and Harkins. The growl that came from his chest was low, controlled, a promise rather than a threat. Harkins' hand closed around his pistol grip. You tell that dog to back off or I'll put it down right here. Try it. The words were quiet, almost gentle, but something in Marcus's eyes made Harkins' fingers freeze. 13 years as a Navy SEAL. 6 deployments, countless missions that never made the news. Marcus Cole had faced men far more dangerous than this small-town bully with a badge, and Harkins saw it. Saw something in that steady gaze that whispered of violence held in check, of skills that could be unleashed in a heartbeat. I'm calling for backup, Harkins said, reaching for his radio. You're interfering with an officer of the law. Call whoever you want, but step away from that dog first. Or what? Marcus didn't answer. He simply waited. The moment stretched, tension building like a held breath. Rex lay frozen on the ground, watching with eyes that had forgotten what hope looked like. Shadow remained perfectly still, waiting for a command that might never come. Finally, Harkins took a step back. This isn't over, he spat. You don't know who you're messing with. Then educate me. Harkins keyed his radio. Dispatch, this is Harkins. Got a situation at Oak Grove Gas. Need backup immediately. Static. Then a voice. Copy, Deputy. Units en route. ETA 5 minutes. Harkins smiled, confidence returning. You just made the worst mistake of your life, soldier boy. Sheriff Blackwood doesn't like outsiders causing trouble. I don't like corrupt cops torturing animals. Looks like we're both disappointed. Marcus moved toward Rex, keeping one eye on Harkins. The deputy's hand twitched toward his weapon, but didn't draw. Smart enough to recognize a losing fight. Rex flinched when Marcus approached, pressing himself flat, expecting pain. Easy, buddy. Marcus knelt slowly, voice soft. I'm not going to hurt you. The dog's eyes tracked him, desperate and afraid. So much damage, so much fear. Shadow approached his fellow German shepherd, nose extending, a soft whine escaping his throat. One canine recognizing another's suffering. Rex lifted his head slightly, the first voluntary movement Marcus had seen from him. That's it, Marcus murmured. You're safe now. He examined the chain, heavy duty, padlocked to a metal post. The dog's neck was raw where the collar had rubbed. Infection already setting in. You can't take that dog, Harkins said from behind him. That's theft. This dog was abandoned. You have no proof of ownership. I have witnesses. Everyone in this town knows he's mine. Everyone in this town is afraid of you. Marcus looked back at him. That's not the same thing. The sound of engines cut through the tension. 2 patrol cars pulling into the lot, lights flashing, but sirens silent. 4 deputies climbing out, hands on weapons. Harkin's smile widened. Now you're in trouble. Marcus stood slowly, placing himself between Rex and the approaching officers. Shadow moved to his side, alert and ready. The lead deputy was younger than Harkins, maybe late 20s, nervous eyes darting between the uniform and the badge. "What's the situation?" he asked. "This man threatened me," Harkins said. "Interfered with official business. He's trying to steal department property." "That dog isn't department property," Marcus said calmly. "It's an abuse victim, and I have video evidence of what Deputy Harkins just did to him." The words landed like a bomb. "What video?" Harkins' face flushed red. "There's no video." "Martha Chen's security camera," Marcus nodded toward the store. "Pointed directly at this post, recording everything." Inside the store, Martha's hand flew to her mouth. She'd forgotten about the camera. The old system she'd installed years ago, the one she never checked anymore. Harkins knew about that camera. He'd been careful to avoid it, usually. But today, in his rage, he'd forgotten. "You're bluffing," Harkins said. "That camera hasn't worked in years." "Then you won't mind if we check?" The young deputy shifted uncomfortably. "Wade, maybe we should—" "Shut up." Harkins' hand closed around his pistol grip. "This man is under arrest. Interfering with law enforcement. Threatening an officer. Attempted theft. On what evidence? My word against his. Your word." Marcus smiled, and there was nothing friendly in it. "Against a decorated Navy SEAL with 13 years of service, a Silver Star, and a Purple Heart. Against video footage of you beating a defenseless animal. Against every witness in that store who's been watching you torture dogs for 3 weeks." Harkins's face went from red to purple. "I don't care who you are. You should." Marcus stepped closer, close enough that Harkins could see the cold promise in his eyes. "Because I've spent my entire adult life protecting the innocent from people like you. And I don't stop. Ever." A new vehicle pulled into the lot. This one wasn't a patrol car. It was a black SUV with tinted windows, the kind that screamed authority and demanded obedience. Sheriff Raymond Blackwood stepped out. He was 58 years old, silver-haired and broad, with the confident stride of a man who had owned this county for 2 decades. His uniform was immaculate. His badge gleamed. His eyes were the cold, calculating eyes of a predator. "What do we have here?" His voice was pleasant, almost friendly. "Wade, you causing trouble again?" "Sheriff," Harkins straightened. "This man threatened me. Tried to steal evidence." "Evidence?" Blackwood looked at Rex, still cowering on the ground. "That old thing? Hardly worth the trouble." "Sir, he claims to have video." "I'm sure he claims a lot of things." Blackwood turned to Marcus, studying him like a specimen under glass. "Navy SEAL, Wade tells me. What brings you to our little town, soldier?" "Just passing through." "Then I suggest you keep passing." Blackwood's smile didn't reach his eyes. Oak Grove doesn't take kindly to outsiders stirring up trouble. "I wasn't stirring up trouble. I was stopping animal abuse." "Animal abuse?" Blackwood laughed. "That dog's been nothing but problems since it showed up. Aggressive. Dangerous. Deputy Harkins has been working to rehabilitate it. By beating it with a shotgun? By using firm discipline, something soft-hearted outsiders wouldn't understand." Shadow growled, low and dangerous. Blackwood's deputies tensed, hands moving toward weapons. "Control that animal," Blackwood said, "or I'll have it put down for public safety." "You won't touch him." "Is that a threat?" "It's a promise." The two men stared at each other, neither blinking. Power versus principle. Authority versus justice. Then Blackwood smiled again, wider this time. "Wade, uncuff the dog." "Sir?" "You heard me. Give it to our friend here. Let him take it home." Harkins stared at his boss in disbelief. "But—" "Now, Wade." Confused, but obedient, Harkins unlocked the padlock and pulled the chain free. Rex stayed frozen, unable to believe the beating wasn't coming. Blackwood spread his hands in a gesture of magnanimity. "There, take the dog. Leave our town. Everyone's happy." Marcus didn't move. He'd been in enough ambushes to recognize one being set. "What's the catch?" "Catch? No catch. Just a friendly warning." Blackwood stepped closer, close enough that only Marcus could hear him. "That dog's seen some things, soldier. Things that might interest certain people. Things that could cause problems for certain other people." His eyes bore into Marcus's. "Take it far away. Don't let it become a problem. And we'll all pretend today never happened." Marcus understood then. Rex had seen something. Something Blackwood wanted hidden. Something worth killing over. "And if I don't take your advice? Then this forgotten little town might become your permanent residence." Blackwood's smile turned cold. "We have a very nice cemetery. Very quiet. Very private." He stepped back, voice returning to its pleasant tone. "Safe travels, soldier. Give my regards to the boys overseas." Marcus knelt beside Rex, gathering the trembling dog into his arms. The German shepherd weighed less than he should, bones too prominent beneath the matted fur. "Easy, buddy. I've got you." He carried Rex to his truck, Shadow following close, never taking his eyes off the deputies. Placed the injured dog carefully in the back seat. Closed the door. Blackwood watched, still smiling. Martha Chen watched from her window, tears streaming down her face. The young deputy, Elena Vasquez, her name tag read, watched with something like hope in her eyes. And in the back of that truck, Rex lifted his head for the first time in weeks. Found Shadow's amber eyes watching him. Found something he'd forgotten existed. Safety. Marcus climbed into the driver's seat and started the engine. "Wait!" The voice came from his window. Deputy Vasquez, glancing nervously over her shoulder. "There's a veterinary clinic 3 miles east. Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She's clean. She'll help." "Why are you telling me this?" Elena's jaw tightened. "Because someone has to." She stepped back as Marcus pulled away, the gas station shrinking in his rearview mirror. Blackwood stood watching, that cold smile still fixed on his face. He wasn't worried. In 3 weeks, no one had ever stood up to them. One Navy SEAL with a hero complex wasn't going to change anything. He was wrong. Marcus Cole wasn't just a hero. He was a hurricane, and Hurricane Marcus had just made landfall. In the back seat, Rex pressed against Shadow's warmth, the first comfort he'd felt in weeks. In the front seat, Marcus gripped the steering wheel, mind already working through possibilities. Blackwood was hiding something. Something connected to Rex. Something big enough to kill over. And Marcus was going to find out what. His phone buzzed. A text from a number he didn't recognize. "Don't trust anyone in this town. The corruption goes deeper than you know. I have evidence. Meet me at midnight. The Old Mill, East Road. Come alone." Marcus stared at the message. Then he looked back at Rex, at the wounds that told stories of systematic cruelty. Whatever Blackwood was hiding, it was about to come into the light. And God help anyone who tried to stop it. Dr. Sarah Mitchell didn't ask questions when Marcus carried Rex into her clinic. She took one look at the battered German shepherd, one look at the Navy uniform, and pointed toward the examination room. "Table! Now!" Marcus laid Rex down gently. The dog whimpered, but didn't fight. 3 weeks of abuse had taught him that resistance only brought more pain. "How long has he been like this?" Sarah's hands moved quickly, professionally, checking vitals, assessing wounds. "At least 3 weeks, maybe longer." "Who did this?" "Deputy Wade Harkins." Sarah's hands paused, just for a moment. Then she continued working. "I've treated animals from that man before. They usually don't survive. This one will." Sarah looked at him then, really looked. "You're not from around here." "Just passing through." "People who pass through don't pick fights with Harkins." She pulled out a syringe. "They definitely don't pick fights with Sheriff Blackwood." "I didn't pick a fight. I stopped a beating." "Same thing in this town." She administered the injection. Rex's trembling began to ease as the sedative took effect. 3 fractured ribs, infected lacerations on the neck, malnutrition, dehydration. Sarah shook her head. "This dog should be dead." "But he's not." "No, he's not." She met Marcus's eyes. "Which means he's either very lucky or very stubborn." "Maybe both." Shadow pressed his nose against the examination table, whining softly. Rex's eyes, heavy with sedation, found his fellow German shepherd. "Your dog seems attached already," Sarah observed. "Shadow knows what it's like to be hurt. He knows what it's like to be saved." "There's a story there." "There's always a story." Marcus watched Rex's breathing steady. "Will he make it?" "If he rests, if he eats, if nobody hurts him again." Sarah pulled off her gloves. "That last part might be the hardest in this town." "Why?" Sarah hesitated. Then she walked to the window and checked the parking lot. "Because Rex isn't just a stray dog Deputy Harkins decided to torture. Rex belonged to someone before. Someone important." "Who?" "Tommy Wells. Local farmer. Good man. He tried to report Blackwood's operation 6 months ago." Marcus felt the pieces clicking together. "What happened to him?" "Disappeared. His wife says he went to meet someone with evidence. Never came home." Sarah's voice dropped. "Rex was his dog. Blackwood took him the same night Tommy vanished." "Why keep the dog alive?" "Because Tommy told his wife that if anything happened to him, Rex would lead them to the truth." Sarah turned back to face Marcus. "He hid something on his property. Something Blackwood wants. Something Rex knows how to find." The sedative had fully taken effect now. Rex lay still, breathing slowly, finally free from pain. "That's why Blackwood let me take him," Marcus said quietly. "He's hoping I'll lead him to whatever Tommy hid." "That would be my guess." "Do you know where Tommy's farm is?" 20 miles north. His wife Lisa still lives there with their son. They've been waiting 6 months for answers." Marcus looked at Rex, at Shadow, at the woman who was risking her career, maybe her life, by telling him this. "Why are you helping me?" "Because I'm tired of being afraid." Sarah's jaw tightened. "Because Tommy Wells was a good man who tried to do the right thing. Because that dog on my table deserves justice, and so does his owner." "You know Blackwood will find out you talked to me." "Probably," Sarah smiled grimly. "But some things are more important than survival." Marcus's phone buzzed. The anonymous text from before. "Midnight. Old Mill. Don't be late." He checked the time. 4 hours. "I need to leave Rex here tonight. Can you keep him safe?" "I have a back room nobody knows about. Used to be a storage closet. Now it's an emergency shelter for animals that need to disappear." "You've done this before." "More times than I want to count." Sarah began preparing the back room. "This town breaks everything it touches. The only way to survive is to learn how to hide." Marcus helped her move Rex to the hidden room. Shadow followed, refusing to leave the injured dog's side. "Stay with him, boy," Marcus said. "Keep him safe." Shadow's amber eyes met his. Understanding passed between them. Marcus was trusting his partner with something precious. Shadow lay down beside Rex, positioning himself between the door and the wounded dog. "He won't let anyone hurt him," Marcus told Sarah. "I believe it." She handed Marcus a key. "Back door, in case you need to come quickly." "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet." Sarah's expression was serious. "Whatever you're walking into tonight, it's not going to be simple. Blackwood has owned this county for 20 years. He has connections everywhere. Police, courts, politicians. I've faced worse." "Have you?" Marcus thought about the mountains of Afghanistan, the streets of Baghdad, the missions that never made the news. "Yes," Sarah nodded slowly. "Then maybe you're exactly what this town needs." Marcus drove north as darkness fell. The anonymous text had said to come alone. Experience told him that was a bad idea. But instinct told him this contact knew something important. Sometimes you had to trust your instincts. The old mill rose from the darkness like a skeleton, abandoned decades ago, forgotten by everyone except teenagers looking for trouble and criminals looking for privacy. Marcus parked a quarter-mile away and approached on foot. Old habits. SEAL training. Never enter a potential ambush zone without reconnaissance. He circled the building twice, checking for vehicles, watching for movement. Nothing. Either his contact was very good at hiding, or this was a trap. He found a position with good sightlines and waited. 11:47 p.m. A figure emerged from the tree line. Female, alone. Moving with the careful stride of someone who knew they were being watched. Deputy Elena Vasquez. She stopped in the open, hands visible, turning slowly so Marcus could see she wasn't armed. "I know you're there," she called out. "I saw you circle the building." Marcus stepped out of the shadows. "You sent the text." "I did." "Why the secrecy?" "Because if Blackwood finds out I'm talking to you, I'm dead." Elena's voice was steady, despite her fear. "And I mean that literally. 3 officers have died in the past 5 years. All ruled accidents. All of them were asking questions about the sheriff. You're asking questions. I've been asking questions for 2 years." Elena pulled out a folder from inside her jacket. "I've been building a case, documenting everything, dates, names, transactions, but every time I get close to something concrete, the evidence disappears." Marcus took the folder. Even in the dim moonlight, he could see the scope of what she'd gathered. Financial records, photographs, witness statements. "This is extensive." "It's not enough. Blackwood has someone inside the FBI. Every time I've tried to report through official channels, the investigation gets shut down before it starts." "What kind of operation is he running?" "Drugs, guns, human trafficking." Elena's voice hardened. "The drugs come through the port, distributed through 3 counties using patrol cars. The guns go the other way, military-grade weapons heading to cartels in Mexico. And the trafficking..." She couldn't finish the sentence. "Tommy Wells found out," Marcus said. Tommy was a farmer, but he was also a veteran. He recognized the signs, started documenting everything. He had evidence, hard evidence, of Blackwood's entire network. "Where is it?" "Hidden somewhere on his property." He told his wife that Rex knew where to find it. Marcus remembered Blackwood's words at the gas station. That dog's seen some things. Things that might interest certain people. Rex isn't just a victim. He's a witness. More than that, Tommy trained him specifically for this. German Shepherds have incredible scent memory. Rex was with Tommy when he hid the evidence. If you take Rex back to the farm, he can lead you right to it. Blackwood knows this. Of course he knows. That's why he's been torturing Rex for 3 weeks, trying to break him, trying to make him forget. Elena shook her head. But Tommy Wells loved that dog. Trained him well. Rex hasn't given up the location no matter how much pain Harkins inflicts. Marcus thought about the German Shepherd lying in Sarah's clinic. The fear in his eyes. The resignation. The pain that had become his entire existence. And yet, somewhere deep inside, Rex was still protecting his owner's secret. "What do you need from me?" Marcus asked. "I need you to get that evidence. Bring it to someone who can actually use it. I have a contact at the state attorney's office, someone outside Blackwood's reach. If we can get her the physical evidence, she can bring in federal resources that Blackwood can't corrupt. And what happens to you?" "I disappear. New identity. New life." Elena's voice cracked slightly. "I've made my peace with it. Some things are more important than survival." Marcus heard the echo of Sarah's words. The same resignation. The same courage. "You're not alone anymore," he said. "I'm going to help you finish this." Elena stared at him. "You don't even know me. You don't owe this town anything." "I owe that dog everything." Marcus looked back toward where he'd left his truck. "I spent 13 years protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. That doesn't stop because I took off the uniform. Blackwood will try to kill you." "He'll try." Something shifted in Elena's expression. Hope, maybe. Something she'd almost forgotten how to feel. "Tommy's wife, Lisa, she's been waiting for someone like you. Someone who could actually fight back." Elena hesitated. "But there's something else you should know." "What?" "Blackwood has a meeting scheduled for tomorrow night. His entire network, all the dirty cops, the politicians, the distributors, they're gathering at his hunting lodge to coordinate the next shipment." "How do you know?" "Because I'm supposed to be there." Elena pulled out her badge. "Blackwood thinks I'm one of them. I've been playing along for 2 years, gaining this trust, gathering intelligence." "You've been undercover this whole time?" "Not officially. No backup. No handler. Just me and a folder full of evidence that keeps growing." She met his eyes. "But now I have you, and you have a military canine and a rescue dog that can find the proof we need." Marcus processed the tactical situation. One ally inside the enemy camp. One witness, canine, who knew the location of crucial evidence. One day to retrieve it before Blackwood's entire network gathered in one place. "If we can get Tommy's evidence before that meeting, we can take them all down at once." "That's the plan." Elena handed him a piece of paper. "Lisa Wells's address. Rex trusts her. If anyone can help him remember, it's her." "What about you?" "I'll be at the lodge tomorrow night. When you make your move, I'll make sure Blackwood and his people don't escape." "That's suicide." "It's justice." Elena stepped back into the shadows. "Get the evidence, Marcus. End this. For Rex. For Tommy. For everyone Blackwood has hurt." She disappeared into the darkness. Marcus stood alone, holding a folder full of evidence and the weight of an entire town's hope. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah Mitchell. "Someone's watching the clinic. 2 vehicles, unmarked. Harkins' friends." Marcus was rumming before he finished reading. The drive back felt endless. Every red light an obstacle. Every slow driver an enemy. He called Sarah. No answer. Called again. Nothing. His heart hammered against his ribs. Shadow was in that clinic. Rex was in that clinic. If anything happened to them. He skidded into the parking lot. 2 vehicles, unmarked, empty. The front door hung open. Marcus pulled his weapon and moved inside, clearing rooms automatically, muscle memory taking over. The examination room was trashed. Equipment overturned. Supplies scattered. He moved to the back, to the hidden room. The door was closed, locked from the inside. He knocked. "Sarah, it's Marcus." A pause. Then the lock clicked. Sarah Mitchell stood in the doorway, holding a surgical scalpel like a knife. Behind her, Shadow stood guard over Rex, teeth bared, growling at the door. "They came 10 minutes ago," Sarah gasped. "3 men. Said they were looking for a stolen dog." "Where are they now?" "They couldn't find the hidden room. Tore apart the clinic looking for it. Then they left." Marcus felt relief flood through him. "Are you hurt?" "No, but they'll be back." Sarah lowered the scalpel. "They know Rex is here somewhere. They're not going to stop." Marcus looked at the 2 dogs, Shadow alert and ready, Rex sedated but stable. "We need to move. Tonight." "Where?" "Tommy Wells's farm. Rex needs to show us where the evidence is hidden." "He's barely conscious." "Can you wake him?" Sarah hesitated. "I can, but he'll be in pain. The sedation was protecting him from the worst of it." Marcus knelt beside Rex. The German shepherd's eyes were half open, watching him with a weary acceptance of a creature that had learned to expect nothing good. "Hey, buddy." Marcus stroked his matted fur. "I know you're tired. I know you've been through hell. But I need your help. Tommy needs your help." Rex's ears twitched at the name. "That's right. Tommy. Your owner. Your friend." Marcus leaned closer. "He hid something important. Something that can stop the men who hurt you. And you're the only one who knows where it is." Rex lifted his head. Just slightly. But it was voluntary. A choice. "Can you do this? Can you show me?" The dog's eyes met his. Something passed between them. Understanding. Trust. Rex tried to stand. His legs shook. His wounded body protested. But he tried. Shadow moved to support him, pressing his body against Rex's side, lending strength to weakness. "That's it." Marcus helped steady him. "You're not alone anymore. We've got you." Sarah watched with tears in her eyes. "I've never seen anything like this." "Like what?" "Like hope refusing to die." They moved Rex to the truck carefully, Shadow jumping in beside him, refusing to leave his side. Sarah followed in her own car, the clinic locked behind them, evidence of the break-in left for whoever came looking. "If they trace this to me, I'm finished," she said. "If we don't finish this tonight, we're all finished." The drive to Tommy Wells's farm took 40 minutes. Lisa Wells was waiting on the porch when they arrived, as if she'd known they were coming. She was in her 40s, with tired eyes and hands that had been wringing with worry for 6 months. Her son Jake stood beside her, 16 years old, his father's eyes. "Rex?" Lisa's voice broke when she saw the battered dog in Marcus's arms. "Oh God, Rex!" She ran to them, hands hovering over the German shepherd's wounded body, afraid to touch, afraid to hurt. "What did they do to him? What did those monsters do?" "They tried to break him," Marcus said. "They failed." Rex's tail wagged just once. But it was the first voluntary movement of joy he'd made in 3 weeks. He remembered her. Despite everything, he remembered. "Tommy said you'd come." Lisa wiped her tears. 6 months ago, before he disappeared, he told me that Rex would bring help. I didn't believe him. I thought he was being paranoid." "He was being prepared." Lisa led them inside. Jake helped Marcus settle Rex on a blanket near the fireplace, Shadow lying down beside him. "Tommy hid something on this property," Marcus said. "Evidence that can destroy Blackwood's operation. Rex knows where it is. Tommy never told me the exact location. Said it was safer if I didn't know." Lisa's hands twisted in her lap. "But he trained Rex for months before he disappeared. Said the dog would remember even if everyone else forgot." "Can Rex walk?" "He can barely stand." "Then we need to try something else." Marcus knelt beside the German shepherd. "Do you trust me?" Rex's amber eyes met his. The dog was exhausted, in pain, traumatized. But something in those eyes said yes. "I need you to remember, buddy. Remember Tommy. Remember where he took you. Remember the secret place." Rex's ears perked. "Show me. When you're ready, show me." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Rex lifted his nose, sniffed the air. His tail twitched. He tried to stand again. Shadow was there immediately, supporting him, lending strength. Together, the two German shepherds moved toward the back door. "He knows." Lisa's voice shook with hope and fear. "He actually knows." Marcus followed the dogs outside, into the darkness of the farm. Sarah and Lisa and Jake followed behind. Rex moved slowly, painfully, but with purpose. His nose worked constantly, picking up scents that had survived 6 months of waiting. They crossed a field, entered a tree line, followed a path that only Rex could see, and then, in a clearing beneath an ancient oak tree, Rex stopped. He looked at Marcus, then at the ground, and he began to dig. Shadow joined him, both dogs pawing at the earth, uncovering something buried deep. Marcus dropped to his knees and helped them, pulling away dirt and leaves until his fingers touched metal. A box. Fireproof. Waterproof. Locked. "Tommy," Lisa whispered. "You brilliant, beautiful man." Marcus lifted the box free. Heavy. Solid. Inside it lay the destruction of Sheriff Raymond Blackwood's empire, and the redemption of a town that had forgotten how to hope. The lock broke open with a crack that echoed through the silent woods. Marcus lifted the lid and felt his breath catch. Tommy Wells had been thorough, devastatingly thorough. Inside the box lay stacks of photographs, ledgers, USB drives, and a small digital recorder. Each item was labeled in neat handwriting, dated and organized with the precision of a man who knew he might not survive to explain it himself. "My God," Lisa whispered, sinking to her knees beside him. "He documented everything." Marcus pulled out a photograph. Sheriff Blackwood shaking hands with a man in a tailored suit, money visible on the table between them. Date stamped, 14 months ago. Another photograph. Deputy Harkins loading unmarked crates into a patrol car. A third showed patrol vehicles parked beside a shipping container at the port, armed men standing guard. "This is enough to bring down the entire operation," Marcus said. "Tommy spent 3 years gathering this." Lisa's voice cracked. 3 years of risking his life, while I thought he was just paranoid. Jake crouched beside his mother, face pale in the moonlight. Dad knew they'd come for him. That's why he trained Rex. Marcus looked at the German shepherd lying exhausted in the clearing. Shadow pressed protectively against him. Rex had done what his owner asked, even after weeks of torture. Had stayed loyal, even when loyalty meant agony. "Your father was a hero," Marcus told Jake. "Don't ever forget that." He began transferring the evidence to a waterproof bag he'd brought from the truck. Every photograph, every document, every USB drive. Everything Tommy Wells had sacrificed his life to gather. Then he found the recorder. "There's something else." Marcus held up the small device. "Audio recordings." Lisa's face went white. "Play it." Marcus pressed the button. Tommy Wells's voice filled the darkness, tired but determined. "This is Tommy Wells, January 15th. I'm recording this because I don't know if I'll survive long enough to testify in person. What I'm about to say is the truth, the whole truth, and I'll swear to it before God and any court that will listen." A pause, the sound of a man gathering courage. "Sheriff Raymond Blackwood has been running a criminal enterprise out of Oak Grove County for at least 15 years. I have photographic evidence of drug shipments coming through the port, distributed using patrol vehicles. I have financial records showing payments to at least 12 county officials, 3 state legislators, and 1 federal agent whose name I'll provide separately. Lisa began to cry silently. But the worst part, the part that made me decide I had to act, is the trafficking. Women, children, brought through the port and distributed to buyers across 3 states. I have dates. I have photographs. I have the names of victims who never came home. Tommy's voice broke. I'm recording this on the same night I'm hiding the physical evidence. My dog Rex is with me. If you're hearing this recording, it means Rex led you here. It means he stayed loyal, even when everything went wrong. Marcus looked at Rex. The dog's eyes were half closed, but his tail gave a weak thump at the sound of his owner's voice. Lisa, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you everything. I'm sorry I put you in danger. But some things are bigger than one family. Some things are worth dying for. A long pause. To whoever found this, finish what I started. Take this evidence to someone who can use it. There's a woman at the state attorney's office, Rebecca Thornton. She's clean. She's brave. She'll know what to do. The recording crackled. And please, please, take care of Rex. He's a good dog, the best dog. He deserves better than this town has given him. The recording ended. Silence filled the clearing. Then Jake spoke, his young voice thick with grief and pride. He knew he was going to die. He knew it was possible, Marcus corrected gently. But he did it anyway. That's what courage looks like. We need to move, Sarah's voice cut through the emotion. If Harkin's men tracked us to the clinic, they can track us here. She was right. They'd been stationary too long. Marcus sealed the evidence bag and stood. Lisa, you and Jake need to disappear. Do you have somewhere safe to go? My sister, in Richmond. Blackwood doesn't know about her. Go there, tonight. Don't stop, don't tell anyone, don't come back until this is over. Lisa nodded, then turned to Rex. The German shepherd lifted his head as she approached. You did good, boy, she whispered, stroking his matted fur. Tommy would be so proud. Rex's tail wagged weakly. Can you take care of him? Lisa asked Marcus. He's been through so much. He deserves someone who'll protect him. Marcus looked at Shadow, then at Rex. 2 German shepherds, both survivors, both warriors in their own way. I'll protect him with my life. Lisa kissed Rex's head one last time, then gathered Jake and headed for their car. Within minutes, their taillights disappeared into the darkness. Now what? Sarah asked. Now we get this evidence to Elena's contact, Rebecca Thornton, state attorney's office. That's a 3-hour drive. Then we better start moving. They loaded Rex into the truck, Shadow jumping in beside him. The injured dog was fading, the brief burst of energy from finding the box exhausted. He needs rest, Sarah said. Real rest. If we push him too hard... I know, Marcus started the engine. But if we don't finish this tonight, Blackwood will find us. And next time, he won't send 3 men. He'll send 30. They pulled onto the main road, headlights cutting through the darkness. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then Sarah looked in the rearview mirror. We've got company. Marcus checked. 2 sets of headlights, hanging back, but definitely following. Could be coincidence. At 2 in the morning on a rural highway? No, not coincidence. Hold on. Marcus accelerated, testing. The headlights behind them matched his speed exactly. They're tracking us, he said. Must have put a device on the truck while I was at the clinic. Can you lose them? Not without knowing these roads, but I know someone who does. He pulled out his phone and called Elena. She answered on the first ring. What's wrong? We got the evidence, but we've got tails. 2 vehicles, maybe more. Where are you? Highway 17, heading south. There's a turnoff in 2 miles, old logging road. Take it, I'll meet you there. You're supposed to be at the lodge tomorrow night. Plans change. Elena's voice was tight. Just get to that road. I'll handle the rest. The line went dead. Marcus found the turnoff exactly where Elena said it would be. The logging road was rough, unpaved, designed for trucks hauling timber, not sedans fleeing criminals. He killed his headlights and drove by moonlight. Behind them, the pursuing vehicles slowed at the turnoff, uncertain. Then they followed. They're still coming, Sarah said. Good. Let them. The road wound deeper into the forest. The pursuing headlights fell back, struggling with the terrain their vehicles weren't built for. Then a figure appeared in the road ahead, Elena Vasquez, standing beside her patrol car, waving them through. Marcus stopped beside her. What's the plan? Keep driving. Half a mile ahead, there's a bridge over Miller Creek. Get across and wait. What are you going to do? Elena's smile was cold. My job. She walked past them, toward the pursuing vehicles, badge raised. Marcus watched in the mirror as she stepped into the road, flashlight blazing, blocking the path. This is Deputy Vasquez. You're in a restricted area. Turn around. The first vehicle stopped. A window rolled down. Deputy, we're on official business. Sheriff's orders. I don't see any official authorization. Turn around. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Elena's hand rested on her weapon. Either you turn around, or I call in a 1032. Officer needs assistance. Every unit in 3 counties responds to that call. You want to explain to them why you're chasing civilians through a forest at 2 in the morning? Silence. Then the vehicles began backing up. Elena had bought them time. Marcus drove until they reached the bridge, then stopped and waited. 15 minutes later, Elena's patrol car appeared. They're gone, for now. She pulled alongside them. But Blackwood will know something's wrong. We need to move fast. Rebecca Thornton, that's our contact? She's the only prosecutor I trust, but her office is in Richmond. 3 hours. We won't make it 3 hours. Blackwood will have roadblocks set up by dawn. Elena nodded. That's why we're not going to Richmond. Where then? Thornton's coming to us. I called her while I was waiting. She's mobilizing a federal team. Real FBI, not the ones Blackwood owns. They'll meet us at a secure location. Where? Elena pulled out a map. There's an old fire station 15 miles east. Abandoned, but the structure's solid. We hole up there until Thornton arrives with backup. How long? 4 hours, maybe 5. Marcus looked at Rex, then at Shadow, then at Sarah. Can we make it? Sarah checked Rex's breathing. He needs fluids and rest, but if we can get somewhere secure, I can stabilize him. Then let's move. They drove in convoy, Elena leading, Marcus following, 2 vehicles carrying the hope of an entire county through the dark Virginia night. The fire station appeared just as the first hints of dawn touched the horizon. Elena was right. Abandoned but solid. Heavy doors, few windows. Defensible. They moved Rex inside first, Sarah immediately setting up a makeshift treatment area. The German Shepherd was fading, his earlier energy completely spent. He's crashing, Sarah said, pulling out her emergency kit. I need to start fluids now. Marcus helped her set up an IV line, while Shadow paced anxiously, whining at his injured companion. Easy, boy, Marcus murmured. She's helping him. Elena stood guard at the window, watching the road. How much time do we have? Marcus asked. Blackwood's meeting starts at 8 tonight. His whole network will be at the lodge. Elena checked her watch. If Thornton gets here by noon, we can coordinate with the federal team and hit them all at once. And if she doesn't, then we improvise. Sarah got the IV running. Rex's breathing steadied slightly. "He's stabilizing," she said, "but he needs at least a few hours of rest before he can be moved again." "He'll get it." Marcus finally allowed himself to sit, exhaustion catching up with him. "We all will." Elena moved away from the window. "I'll take first watch. You should sleep." "I can't sleep. Not yet." "You're no good to anyone exhausted." "I'll rest when this is over." Elena studied him for a long moment. "Why are you doing this? Really? You could have walked away at the gas station. Could have walked away a dozen times since then." Marcus looked at Rex, at the scars and wounds that told stories of systematic cruelty. "Because someone has to." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I have." He met her eyes. "When I was deployed, we had a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I've seen evil triumph too many times. I'm done letting it win." Elena nodded slowly. "Tommy said something similar once. Said that silence was the same as permission." "Smart man." "Brave man." Her voice softened. "I hope wherever he is, he knows we're finishing what he started." A sound from outside. Both of them tensed. Then Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "We know where you are. Surrender the evidence and we'll let the women live." Marcus showed the text to Elena. Her face went pale. "They found us. Faster than expected. The tracker. There must be another one." "On your vehicle." Elena cursed. She'd been so careful, but not careful enough. "How many men does Blackwood have?" Marcus asked. "At least 20 loyal deputies, plus whatever muscle he can hire." "Against us?" "Against us." Marcus looked at Sarah, still working on Rex, at Shadow, standing guard, at Elena, already checking her weapon. "Then we make a stand." "That's suicide." "No, it's tactics." Marcus moved to the window. In the distance, dust was rising on the road. Vehicles approaching. "Blackwood wants the evidence. That means he can't just burn this place down. He has to come in and get it." "So?" "So we make him work for every inch." Marcus began scanning the building, calculating. "This station has one main entrance, 2 side doors, limited windows. We create choke points, make them funnel through narrow spaces, use their numbers against them." Elena's eyes widened. "You've done this before." "More times than I can count." "But we're outnumbered." "I've been outnumbered before too." Marcus looked at her. "The question is, are you willing to fight?" Elena's jaw tightened. "I've been fighting for 2 years. What's one more battle?" "Good. Help me barricade the side doors." They worked quickly, pushing heavy furniture against the secondary entrances, creating obstacles that would slow any attacker. Sarah watched with growing fear. "What about Rex? He can't be moved." "He won't have to be. Shadow, stay with him. Guard." The German Shepherd positioned himself over Rex, teeth bared, ready to defend his wounded brother to the death. The first vehicle appeared through the window, then a second, a third, a fourth. They kept coming. Deputy Wade Harkins stepped out of the lead vehicle, shotgun in hand, a dozen armed men spreading out behind him. "Marcus Cole!" His voice echoed across the clearing. "We know you're in there. This is your one chance. Surrender the evidence and nobody gets hurt." Marcus moved to the window, staying out of the line of fire. "I've got a counteroffer, Harkins. Surrender yourself and nobody gets hurt." Harkins laughed. "You think you're funny? You think this is a game? You've got 30 seconds before we come in there and take what we want. Then come and get it." Silence. Then Harkins nodded to his men. They began to advance. Elena raised her weapon. "Here they come." "Wait for my signal." The men crossed the clearing. 20 yards. 15. 10. Now! Elena fired through the window. A man dropped. Return fire shattered glass. Marcus pulled Elena down as bullets tore through the space where her head had been. Move! Secondary position! They scrambled behind overturned tables, makeshift cover that wouldn't last long against sustained fire. But it didn't need to last long, because in the distance, over the sound of gunfire, Marcus heard something beautiful. Helicopters, 2 of them, coming fast, bearing the markings of the FBI. Harkins heard them too. His face went white. Fall back! Fall back! But it was too late. The helicopters landed, tactical teams pouring out, weapons raised. FBI! Everyone on the ground! Now! Harkins tried to run. A German shepherd, Shadow, burst through the station door and took him down before he made 3 steps. The big deputy screamed as Shadow's teeth found his arm, the same arm that had swung a shotgun at Rex for 3 weeks. Call him off! Call him off! Marcus walked out of the station, calm amid the chaos. Shadow, hold. The dog held, teeth still embedded, waiting. Marcus knelt beside Harkins, looking into the eyes of the man who had tortured an innocent animal for weeks, who had served a corrupt master without question, who had thought his badge made him untouchable. Remember what I told you at the gas station? Marcus said quietly. I don't stop. Ever. FBI agents swarmed around them, securing weapons, cuffing suspects. A woman in a sharp suit approached. Rebecca Thornton, Marcus guessed. She looked exactly like her name suggested. Sharp, fierce, unstoppable. You must be the Navy SEAL everyone's talking about. Just a guy trying to do the right thing. Well, just a guy. You've helped us crack the biggest corruption case in Virginia history. She looked at the evidence bag in his hand. Is that what I think it is? Everything Tommy Wells gathered. Names, dates, photographs, recordings. Marcus handed it over. Enough to bring down Blackwood and everyone connected to him. Thornton's eyes gleamed. Then let's finish this. From inside the station, a bark sounded. Rex, on his feet, leaning against the door frame, watching the chaos with exhausted but triumphant eyes. Shadow ran to him, pressing against his side, tail wagging. 2 German shepherds, both survivors, both warriors, both finally free. Harkins was screaming as they dragged him to the FBI transport vehicle. You don't understand! Blackwood will kill me! He'll kill all of us! Rebecca Thornton stepped in front of him, face cold as granite. Then maybe you should start talking. Fast. I want a deal. Immunity. Protection. You'll get what you earn. Thornton nodded to the agents. Take him. We'll process him at the field office. Marcus watched them load Harkins into the vehicle, the man's screams fading as the doors closed. Shadow remained pressed against his leg, alert and ready, while Rex rested inside the fire station under Sarah's watchful care. Elena approached, holstering her weapon. Blackwood's meeting is in 6 hours. If he finds out what happened here, he'll disappear. He won't find out. Thornton checked her phone. We've got his communications monitored. As far as he knows, Harkins is still hunting you through the woods. How long can we maintain that? Long enough. Thornton turned to Marcus. The evidence you recovered is comprehensive, but it's not enough to guarantee conviction. Defense attorneys will argue it was tampered with, planted, fabricated. What do you need? A confession, or caught in the act evidence. Thornton's eyes met his. The meeting tonight. If we can raid it while they're actively conducting business, we get everything. Elena shook her head. Blackwood's Lodge is a fortress. Private security, surveillance systems, armed guards. You can't just storm it. What if we had someone on the inside? The question hung in the air. Elena's face went pale. You want me to go through with it. The meeting. You're the only one who can. Thornton stepped closer. You've spent 2 years building trust with these people. If you show up tonight, they won't suspect anything. Until the raid starts and they figure out I'm the leak. By then, we'll have extracted you. And if something goes wrong? Thornton didn't answer. She didn't need to. Marcus moved between them. There's another way. Let me go. You? Elena almost laughed. Blackwood knows your face. He threatened to kill you, personally. Exactly. He thinks I'm dead. Or running. He won't expect me to walk into his stronghold. That's because it's suicide. Not if I go in through a way he doesn't know about. Elena stared at him. What are you talking about? Tommy Wells's recordings. He mentioned a tunnel system under the lodge, built during Prohibition for smuggling alcohol. Blackwood uses them now for moving shipments. Thornton pulled out a tablet, scrolling through the evidence files. He's right. There are architectural plans here. The tunnels connect to a root cellar half a mile from the main building. You want to infiltrate through underground tunnels during a meeting of armed criminals? Elena said flatly. With no backup? I'll have backup. Marcus looked at Shadow. The best backup there is. The German shepherd's ears perked forward at his tone. Ready. This is insane, Sarah said from the doorway. She'd been listening, Rex resting behind her. You just survived one ambush. You want to walk into another? I want to finish this. Marcus turned to face her. Tommy Wells died trying to expose these people. Lisa and Jake are hiding in fear. Martha Chen has spent years watching evil happen because she was too scared to act. Rex was tortured for 3 weeks because he was loyal to his owner. His voice hardened. These people have destroyed lives, taken families, trafficked human beings like cargo, and they've done it for years because no one could touch them. He looked at each of them in turn. Someone has to touch them. Someone has to make it stop. Why does it have to be you? Because I'm here. Because I can. Because if I don't, who will? Silence. Then Elena stepped forward. I'm going with you. Elena, don't argue. You need someone who knows the layout, knows the players, knows who's dangerous and who might flip. She met his eyes. I've been preparing for this night for 2 years. I'm not sitting it out. You'll be walking into the lion's den. If they find out, then I go down fighting. Her jaw set. Some things are worth dying for. Marcus recognized the words. His own words, spoken earlier. All right, he said. We go together. Thornton began coordinating with her team. The FBI tactical units would surround the lodge at 8 p.m., waiting for Marcus's signal. Once he confirmed the meeting was in progress, they would move in from all directions. But everything depended on Marcus reaching the lodge undetected. Everything depended on the tunnels. Sarah worked on Rex while they prepared, stabilizing him further, bringing color back to his eyes. He's recovering faster than I expected, she said. German shepherds are resilient. He wants to live. Marcus knelt beside the injured dog. Hey, buddy, how are you feeling? Rex lifted his head. His tail wagged weakly, but his eyes were clearer than they'd been since the rescue. You did good. You found Tommy's evidence. You helped take down the men who hurt you. Marcus stroked his matted fur. Now you just need to rest and heal. Rex whined and tried to stand. No, stay. Marcus gently pushed him back down. Shadow and I have one more mission. When it's over, we're coming back for you. Shadow approached, pressing his nose against Rex's. A wordless communication passed between the two dogs. Understanding. Solidarity. Then Shadow turned and moved to Marcus's side, ready for whatever came next. Take care of him, Marcus told Sarah. Take care of yourself. She gripped his arm. This town needs you to survive, more than you know. At 6 p.m., Marcus and Elena began their approach to the tunnel entrance. The root cellar was exactly where the plan showed it, a crumbling structure hidden by decades of overgrowth, forgotten by everyone except the ghosts who'd built it. The entrance was padlocked, but the lock was old. Marcus had it open in 30 seconds. "Stay close," he told Elena. "Shadow will scout ahead." They descended into darkness. The tunnel smelled of earth and decay, moisture dripping from stone walls, the air thick and stale. Marcus moved by feel, one hand trailing the wall, the other resting on his weapon. Shadow padded ahead, nose working, ears rotating. The dog's night vision was far superior to human eyes. If danger waited in the darkness, he would find it first. They walked for what felt like hours. In reality, it was 20 minutes. Then Shadow stopped. A low growl. Danger. Marcus froze, signaling Elena to do the same. Voices ahead. 2 men, maybe more, speaking quietly. "Guards?" Elena whispered. "Sounds like it." "The plans didn't show any security down here." Blackwood's paranoid. Must have added them recently. Marcus calculated. 2 guards in a narrow tunnel. No room to maneuver. No way to pass without being seen. "Shadow, distract." The German shepherd slipped forward into the darkness. A moment later, a bark echoed through the tunnel, then another. Then the sound of running footsteps. What the hell was that? Sounded like a dog. Down here? That's impossible. Go check it out. One set of footsteps moving away, following Shadow's barks deeper into the tunnel. Marcus moved. He closed the distance to the remaining guard in 3 seconds. A hand over the mouth, an arm around the neck, pressure, darkness. The guard slumped unconscious. Shadow reappeared, tail wagging, proud of his work. "Good boy." Marcus zip-tied the unconscious guard and dragged him into a side passage. "Elena, move." They continued through the tunnel, passing storage areas filled with crates that Marcus suspected contained things he didn't want to know about. The smell changed as they went deeper. Less earth, more concrete. They were approaching the lodge. A ladder appeared in the darkness. Above it, a trapdoor. "This is it," Elena whispered. "That door opens into a storage room in the lodge basement." "What's above the basement?" "Main level is the meeting room. Blackwood holds all his important gatherings there." Marcus checked his watch. 7:45 p.m. The meeting would be starting soon. "I go first. Wait for my signal." He climbed the ladder slowly, testing each rung, listening for movement above. The trapdoor was heavy, but unlocked. He pushed it open an inch. Voices. Multiple people. The meeting was already underway. Marcus pushed the door fully open and pulled himself into the storage room. Shadow followed, then Elena. They moved to the door that led into the basement proper. Through a crack, Marcus could see stairs leading up, light spilling down from above. "How many people are usually at these meetings?" he whispered. 15 to 20? Deputies, business partners, political contacts. Elena's voice was tight. "All the people who've made this operation possible." "Armed?" "Assume everyone." Marcus pulled out his phone and sent a single text to Thornton. "In position, confirming targets." The response came immediately. "Team standing by. Signal when ready." "Stay here," Marcus told Elena. "I need to confirm Blackwood is present before we call in the cavalry." "Let me come. If something goes wrong, you're the only one who can get word to Thornton. Stay." Elena wanted to argue. He could see it in her eyes. But she nodded. Marcus moved up the stairs, Shadow at his heel, both of them silent as death. The main level of the lodge opened before them. Through a cracked door, Marcus could see into the meeting room. Sheriff Raymond Blackwood sat at the head of a long table, silver hair gleaming, face wearing that same cold smile Marcus remembered from the gas station. Around him sat a gallery of corruption. Deputies in uniform, men in suits who screamed politician, others who looked like they'd be more at home in a prison yard than a private lodge. And at the far end of the table, a face Marcus recognized from Tommy's photographs. Senator James Whitmore, state senator, chair of the Law Enforcement Oversight Committee, the man who'd killed every investigation into Blackwood's operation before it could start. "The situation is under control," Blackwood was saying. "The Navy SEAL has been neutralized. The evidence has been recovered."
"You're certain?"
Whitmore's voice was sharp with anxiety.
"Because if this blows up—"
"It won't blow up. Harkins is handling the loose ends as we speak." Marcus felt cold satisfaction spread through him. Blackwood didn't know. Didn't know his men had been captured. Didn't know the FBI was surrounding his fortress. Didn't know his empire was about to crumble. "What about the dog?" someone asked. "The one that found the evidence?" "Dead by now, if Harkins has done his job," Blackwood smiled. "Animals that cause problems don't deserve to live." Shadow's growl was barely audible. Marcus placed a calming hand on his head. "Let's move to the main business," Blackwood continued. "The shipment arrives tomorrow night. 40 units. Best quality we've had in months." "Units?" Whitmore looked uncomfortable. "We're still calling them that?" "Would you prefer product? Merchandise?" Blackwood's smile turned cold. "Don't pretend you don't know what we're selling, Senator. You've been taking your cut for 5 years." Human trafficking. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. 40 people, treated like cargo, sold like goods. He'd seen enough. He pulled out his phone and typed, "Confirmed. Blackwood, Whitmore, 18 others. Human trafficking discussed. Go." The response was immediate. "Teams moving. ETA, 3 minutes." 3 minutes? Marcus just had to stay hidden for 3 more minutes. Then Blackwood's phone rang. The sheriff glanced at the screen. His face changed. "Excuse me, gentlemen." He stepped away from the table, voice low. "What do you mean they're not responding? When was the last contact?" Silence. "Find them. Now." He hung up and turned back to the room, composure cracking. "We may have a problem." "What kind of problem?" Whitmore demanded. "Harkins missed his check-in. His entire team missed their check-in." The room stirred with unease. "That could mean anything," someone said. "Bad cell service." "Or it could mean someone's talking." Blackwood's eyes swept the room. "Everyone stay calm. We have security protocols for this." He pulled out a radio. "All units, code red. Lock down the perimeter. No one in or out." Outside, Marcus heard engines starting, vehicles moving into position. The FBI was 60 seconds away. But Blackwood security was mobilizing now. This was about to get messy. "Elena," Marcus whispered into his earpiece, "get to the tunnel entrance. When the raid starts, guide the FBI through. What about you?" "I'm going to make sure Blackwood doesn't escape." He moved before she could argue, Shadow following, both of them slipping through the shadows toward the meeting room. The first explosion came from outside. Flashbang grenades. The FBI was here. Chaos erupted in the meeting room. Men shouting, chairs overturning, weapons being drawn. Blackwood grabbed Whitmore. "This way, the tunnel." "What tunnel?" "Emergency exit. Move!" They ran for a door at the back of the room, the same door that led to the storage room, to the tunnel, to freedom. Marcus stepped into their path. "Going somewhere, Sheriff?" Blackwood froze. His face went white, then red with rage. You're supposed to be dead." "Surprise." Shadow positioned himself beside Marcus, teeth bared, a wall of fur and fury. Whitmore tried to run the other way. He made it 3 steps before FBI agents burst through the front doors. "FBI! Everyone on the ground, now!" The room dissolved into arrests. Men in suits trying to flee. Deputies dropping weapons and raising hands. The carefully constructed empire crumbling in seconds. But Blackwood didn't move. He stared at Marcus with pure hatred. "You've ruined everything." "No, I've fixed everything." Marcus stepped closer. 20 years of corruption, hundreds of victims, families destroyed, lives stolen. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Did you really think it would last forever? You don't understand how the world works." "I understand perfectly." Marcus looked at the chaos around them, the arrests, the confessions, the collapse of everything Blackwood had built. Evil wins when good people do nothing. Tonight, good people did something. Blackwood's hand moved toward his weapon. Shadow lunged. The German Shepherd hit Blackwood in the chest, knocking him backward, teeth finding the arm that reached for the gun. Blackwood screamed, trying to throw the dog off, but Shadow held firm. "Shadow, hold!" The dog held, jaws clamped, waiting. FBI agents surrounded them, weapons raised. "Stand down!" Marcus raised his hands slowly. "He's yours. Take him." They cuffed Blackwood, dragging him to his feet. The sheriff's face was a mask of fury and disbelief. "This isn't over," he spat at Marcus. "I have friends, lawyers, connections you can't imagine." "Your connections are in handcuffs." Marcus nodded toward the room, where Whitmore and a dozen others were being processed. "Your lawyers can't help you, and your friends are about to become prosecution witnesses." Thornton appeared in the doorway, surveying the scene with grim satisfaction. 23 arrests, including a state senator." She looked at Marcus. "Not bad for one night's work." "It's not about the arrests. It's about the victims." "We've already got a team heading to the port. If we're lucky, we can intercept tomorrow's shipment before anyone disappears." Thornton extended her hand. "Thank you, Mr. Cole. You've done something tonight that law enforcement has been trying to do for years." Marcus shook her hand, but his eyes were on Elena, emerging from the basement, safe and whole. "I had help." Elena joined them, exhaustion and relief mixing on her face. "It's really over?" "It's really over." She looked around the room at the handcuffed men, the evidence being catalogued, the empire falling. "Tommy Wells," she said softly. "He'd be proud. He'd be at peace." Marcus thought about the recording. Tommy's voice, tired but determined. The man who'd given everything to expose the truth. "What happens now?" Elena asked Thornton. "Now we process. We interrogate. We build cases." Thornton's expression was fierce. "By the time we're done, not a single person in this room will see freedom again." Blackwood was being led past them toward the transport vehicle. He stopped, eyes finding Marcus. "You think you've won? You think this changes anything?" "It changes everything." Marcus met his gaze without flinching. "For every victim you traded like merchandise, for every family you destroyed, for every life you ended." He stepped closer. "Including Tommy Wells." Something flickered in Blackwood's eyes. Fear, maybe, or recognition. Wells was going to ruin everything. He had to be stopped. "He did stop you, just not in the way you expected." Marcus smiled coldly. His evidence, his dog, his sacrifice, all of it led to tonight. They dragged Blackwood away, his protests echoing into the night. Marcus walked outside, Shadow at his heel. The cool air hit his face, carrying the smell of pine and freedom. Elena joined him. "You saved this town." "This town saved itself. I just helped it remember how." "What will you do now?" Marcus thought about Rex, waiting at the fire station. About Lisa and Jake, hiding in Richmond. About Martha Chen, finally free from fear. "There's a dog who needs a home," he said, "and a lot of healing left to do." He looked at Shadow, who gazed back with steady amber eyes. "We've got work to do, boy." Shadow barked once. Ready. Always ready. 3 months later, Marcus Cole stood before a Senate subcommittee. The hearing room was packed. Cameras lined every wall. Reporters filled the gallery, hungry for the story that had captivated the nation. A Navy SEAL, a tortured dog, and the takedown of one of the most corrupt law enforcement networks in American history. Shadow sat beside him in an official service vest, calm and dignified. And on his other side, in a new collar with tags that read Rex Cole, sat the German shepherd who had started it all. Rex had healed. 3 months of surgery, rehabilitation, and love had transformed him from a broken victim into something remarkable. His fur gleamed now, thick and healthy. His eyes were clear. The scars remained, they always would, but they no longer defined him. "Mr. Cole," Senator Patricia Williams began, "please state your name and background for the record." "Marcus Cole, former Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, SEAL Team 6, 13 years of active service." "And the dogs beside you?" "Shadow, my canine partner for 6 years, served with me in Afghanistan and Iraq." Marcus placed a hand on Rex's head. "And Rex, formerly owned by Tommy Wells, a Virginia farmer who gave his life exposing the Blackwood corruption network." A murmur ran through the gallery. Williams nodded. "Mr. Cole, you're here today to testify about events that began 3 months ago at a gas station in Oak Grove, Virginia. Can you tell us what happened?" Marcus took a breath. This was it. The moment where everything he'd witnessed would become part of the permanent record. "Yes, Senator. It started with a beating." He told them everything. About pulling into that gas station and seeing Deputy Wade Harkins swinging a shotgun at a chained dog. About the moment he decided he couldn't walk away. About Martha Chen's silent terror and the anonymous text that set everything in motion. He told them about Tommy Wells, the brave farmer who'd spent 3 years documenting Blackwood's crimes, knowing it might cost him his life. About Lisa and Jake, waiting 6 months for answers that finally came. He told them about Elena Vasquez, the deputy who'd spent 2 years undercover, risking everything to gather evidence against her own colleagues. About Sarah Mitchell, the veterinarian who hid abused animals in a secret room because speaking up meant destruction. He told them about the tunnels beneath the lodge, the raid, the moment Blackwood's empire crumbled. And he told them about Rex. "This dog," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion, "was tortured for 3 weeks, beaten daily, starved, chained in the sun with no water. He could have given up. He could have broken. But he didn't." Rex's ears perked at his name. Tommy Wells trained him well, taught him that some things are worth protecting, no matter the cost. And when I took Rex back to that farm, when I asked him to remember where Tommy had hidden the evidence, he did. Despite everything he'd been through, he remembered. Marcus looked directly at the cameras. Sheriff Blackwood believed his badge made him untouchable. He believed power meant the right to abuse, to corrupt, to destroy. He believed that hurting a defenseless animal was proof of his strength. His voice hardened. He was wrong. The real strength was in Rex, in Tommy Wells, in every person who finally found the courage to speak up after years of silence. That's the truth Blackwood never understood. Evil isn't defeated by matching its cruelty. Evil is defeated by ordinary people choosing to do the right thing, even when it costs them everything. The hearing lasted 4 more hours. Elena testified about her 2 years undercover, the evidence she'd gathered, the constant fear that discovery meant death. Her testimony painted a picture of systematic corruption that reached far beyond Oak Grove. Dirty cops, compromised judges, bought politicians. Sarah Mitchell testified about the animals she'd treated over the years, the ones disciplined by Hawkins and his friends, the ones she'd hidden in her back room, because reporting abuse to the authorities meant reporting it to the abusers. Martha Chen testified about 15 years of silence, watching evil happen through her store window, too afraid to speak because speaking meant losing everything. And Lisa Wells testified about her husband, his courage, his sacrifice, his unwavering belief that truth would eventually triumph. Tommy knew he might not survive, Lisa said, tears streaming down her face. But he told me that some things are bigger than one family. Some things are worth dying for. She looked at Marcus. He was right. The committee's findings were devastating. Sheriff Raymond Blackwood, guilty on 47 counts, including racketeering, human trafficking, murder, and corruption. Life without parole. Deputy Wade Harkins, guilty on 23 counts, including assault, animal cruelty, and conspiracy. 30 years. Senator James Whitmore, guilty on 18 counts, including bribery and obstruction of justice. 15 years and permanent removal from office. In total, 61 arrests, 43 convictions. The largest corruption prosecution in Virginia history. But the numbers weren't what mattered. What mattered was Lisa Wells finally learning what happened to her husband. His body recovered from a shallow grave on Blackwood's property, given a proper burial with full military honors. What mattered was Martha Chen reopening her store without fear, without looking over her shoulder, without worrying about which deputy might walk through her door. What mattered was Elena Vasquez promoted to lead a new state anti-corruption task force, her years of sacrifice finally recognized. What mattered was 40 trafficking victims rescued from the intercepted shipment, returned to their families, given a chance to heal. And what mattered was Rex, the German shepherd who had suffered so much, who had stayed loyal despite unimaginable pain, who had led them to the evidence that brought down an empire. He was home now. Really home. 2 weeks after the Senate hearing, Marcus returned to Oak Grove for the dedication ceremony. The town had transformed. The fear was gone. People walked with their heads up. Children played in the streets. The gas station where everything began now displayed a simple plaque. In memory of Tommy Wells, who gave his life for truth. And for Rex, the faithful friend who never forgot. Martha Chen stood at the front of the crowd, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. "I never thought I'd see this day," she said to Marcus. 20 years of living in fear, and now you're free." "We all are," she gripped his hand. "Because of you." "Because of everyone. I just lit the match. This town provided the fuel." Noah, the teenage helper from the store, approached with a camera. "Can I get a picture? For the newspaper?" Marcus hesitated. He'd never been comfortable with attention. But then he looked at Shadow and Rex, sitting side by side, 2 German shepherds who had survived darkness and emerged into light. "Sure, but make sure you get the dogs." The camera flashed. That photograph would appear in newspapers across the country. 2 dogs, 1 Navy SEAL. The image of justice finally served. After the ceremony, Lisa Wells found Marcus at the edge of the crowd. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, "for everything you did, for finding Tommy's evidence, for giving Rex a home." Rex gave himself a home. He earned it. Lisa knelt beside the German shepherd, stroking his healed fur. "Tommy loved this dog so much. He would be so happy knowing Rex is safe and loved." "Rex is more than safe. He's family." Jake approached, taller now, more confident. 3 months of answers had transformed the grieving teenager into something stronger. "Mr. Cole, I wanted to ask you something." "Go ahead." "I'm thinking about joining the military, like you, like my dad." Jake's chin lifted. "I want to help people.
I want to fight for what's right.
Marcus studied the young man, saw Tommy Wells in his eyes, saw the same courage, the same conviction. Your father would be proud. You think so? I know so. Marcus placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. But remember something. The uniform doesn't make you a hero. Your choices do. Every day you decide what kind of person you're going to be. That's what your father understood. That's why he did what he did. Jake nodded slowly. I'll remember. Good, Marcus smiled. And if you ever need a recommendation, look me up. The sun was setting when Marcus finally loaded Shadow and Rex into his truck. Elena Vasquez stood beside him, watching the town celebrate its freedom. So what's next for the wandering hero? I'm not sure I'm wandering anymore.
Oh?
Elena raised an eyebrow.
Thinking of settling down?
Marcus looked at Oak Grove, the people, the hope, the second chance. Martha offered me a job, security director for the new community center they're building. Said I know how to watch without making people feel watched.
That's quite a compliment coming from her.
It's tempting. Marcus turned to face Elena. But I've been thinking about something bigger.
What's that?
All those animals Sarah hid in her back room. All the veterans who came home broken and couldn't find their way back. All the dogs that need homes and the people who need purpose. Elena's eyes widened. You're talking about starting something. A sanctuary for retired military canines and the veterans who need them. Marcus looked at Shadow, then at Rex. A place where broken things can heal together. That's incredible. Tommy Wells died trying to protect the innocent. The least I can do is continue his work. Marcus opened the truck door. Besides, I've got 2 dogs now. Might as well have 200. Elena laughed, the first real laugh he'd heard from her. You're serious? Dead serious. He climbed into the truck. You could help, you know, once you're done changing the world from the inside. Is that an invitation? It's an offer. No pressure. Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. I'll think about it. Marcus drove away as the last rays of sunlight painted the Virginia hills gold. In his rearview mirror, Oak Grove shrank into the distance. But it didn't feel like leaving. It felt like carrying something precious forward. Shadow rode shotgun, head out the window, ears streaming in the wind. Rex lay in the back seat, finally at peace. Finally home. 2 German shepherds, 1 former SEAL, and a road stretching toward tomorrow. 6 months later, Guardian Watch opened its doors. The sanctuary sat on 40 acres of Virginia farmland, purchased with the settlement money from civil suits against Blackwood's seized assets. It housed 20 retired military canines, paired with veterans struggling to readjust to civilian life. Marcus stood at the entrance, watching the first group of visitors arrive. Reporters, donors, families of veterans who'd found purpose again. Shadow sat beside him, graying at the muzzle now, but still alert, still watching, still ready. And beside Shadow sat Rex, the German shepherd who had been tortured for 3 weeks, who had stayed loyal despite unimaginable pain, who had led them to evidence that brought down an empire. Rex was whole now, healthy, happy. He spent his days mentoring new arrivals, scared dogs who didn't trust humans, traumatized canines who flinched at sudden movements. He showed them, through patience and presence, that healing was possible, that trust could be rebuilt, that love still existed even after the worst darkness. Lisa Wells visited every month, bringing Jake, now enrolled in the Naval Academy. They'd walk the grounds with Rex, sharing stories about Tommy, keeping his memory alive. Martha Chen sent care packages, biscuits for the dogs, coffee for the staff, handwritten notes that always made Marcus smile. Elena Vasquez
called every week with updates from her task force. They'd uncovered 3 more corruption networks since Blackwood's fall. Justice was spreading like wildfire. And Sarah Mitchell had left her small-town practice to become Guardian Watch's chief veterinarian. She'd said she was tired of hiding animals in back rooms. Now she healed them in the open.
On the anniversary of Tommy Wells's death, Marcus held a small ceremony at the sanctuary. Lisa and Jake were there, Martha and Noah, Elena and Sarah, the veterans and their dogs, everyone who had played a part in bringing down Blackwood's empire. Marcus stood before them, Shadow and Rex at his feet. 1 year ago, I pulled into a gas station looking for water. I found something else instead. He looked at Rex. I found a dog who was being beaten by a man with a badge, a man who believed power meant the right to hurt those who couldn't fight back. His voice strengthened. I could have walked away. Everyone in that town had walked away for years. It was safer, easier, more convenient. He shook his head. But some things are more important than safety. Some things are more important than convenience. Some things are worth fighting for, even when fighting means risking everything. He looked at each person in the crowd. Tommy Wells understood that. He died trying to expose the truth. Elena spent 2 years living a lie to gather evidence. Sarah hid animals in secret rooms. Martha recorded evidence she was terrified to share. His eyes found Rex. And Rex, this dog endured 3 weeks of torture without giving up his owner's secret. He stayed loyal when loyalty meant agony. He remembered when everyone expected him to forget. Marcus's voice broke slightly. That's what courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Not perfect heroes with perfect stories, but ordinary beings, human and animal alike, choosing to do what's right when doing what's right could destroy them. He straightened. Guardian Watch exists because of that courage. Because Tommy Wells believed in truth. Because Rex believed in his owner. Because all of you believed that justice was worth fighting for. He looked toward the horizon. There are still corrupt cops out there, still animals being abused, still people who believe their power makes them untouchable. His jaw set. But now they know something they didn't know before. They know we're watching. They know we're coming. And they know that no matter how powerful they think they are, there will always be people willing to stand up. He reached down and touched Rex's head. People like Tommy Wells, dogs like Rex, warriors like every veteran and canine in this sanctuary. His voice rose.
That's what Guardian Watch is about. Not just healing, not just rescue, but standing watch, being ready, making sure that evil never wins just because good people do nothing. The crowd was silent. Then Lisa Wells stepped forward. She wrapped her arms around Marcus in a fierce hug. "Thank you," she whispered, "for finishing what Tommy started." He finished it himself. I just delivered the message. One by one, the others followed. Martha Chen, crying and laughing at once. Elena Vasquez, finally at peace with the sacrifices she'd made. Sarah Mitchell, proud of the healing she'd helped create. And the veterans, 20 men and women who had served their country and come home broken. 20 soldiers who had found purpose again through the dogs they cared for and the dogs who cared for them. They stood together in the Virginia sunlight, humans and animals, warriors and healers, broken pieces that had somehow become whole. Marcus's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Got a situation, small town in Tennessee. Sheriff's been running a dogfighting ring. Local cops won't touch him. Could use someone who doesn't walk away." Marcus looked at Shadow. The German shepherd's ears perked forward.
ready. He looked at Rex, the dog who had survived the worst humanity had to offer and emerged with his spirit intact. "What do you think, boys? One more mission?" Shadow barked once, sharp, certain. Rex's tail wagged slowly, steady, sure.
Marcus typed his reply. "Send me the details." Then he pocketed his phone and walked toward his truck, both dogs falling into step beside him.
Some men retire from war. Others just find new battles worth fighting. Marcus Cole had found his. And as long as there were innocent creatures suffering, as long as there were bullies who believed their badges made them untouchable, as long as evil thought it could win by making good people afraid, he would keep fighting. One dog at a time.
One town at a time. One stand at a time.
If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to remember that heroes still exist. Subscribe for more stories of courage and redemption, and remember this truth. The next time you see cruelty, the next time you witness evil, the next time someone tells you that speaking up is too dangerous, think of Rex. Think of a German Shepherd who was beaten for 3 weeks and never gave up. Think of the courage that lives in the most broken hearts.
Then make your choice. Walk away or stand up. The world is watching, and so are we.